From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Morning Line with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this very special holiday edition of Morning Line. It's the only time all year I get to wear my Santa hat, and we have the poinsettia here, and I hope that you're having a very pleasant holiday. This is our annual program we do with fellow colleagues of mine here at News Channel 5. Usually we have a wonderful spread out here, and we all gather and tell stories. This year, social separating, but we still found a way to do it with some little taped vignettes that we've done, or video vignettes anyway. We don't use tape anymore, with many of our News Channel 5 on-air talent, kind of sharing some of their Christmas thoughts, memories, traditions, and the like. And so we're going to play those for you, and I'll just come back in between each one, and we can talk about them a bit and go from there. And so we've got a whole list of folks who are kind enough to do this for us. They're not real long, but this first segment here, we're going to start it off with none other than Amy Watson, as she kind of talks about some of her Christmas holiday traditions and the like. So let's hear from Amy Watson.
One of my favorite Christmas memories is with my children, and it's called the Santa Trap. And every year when my kids were younger, we would take a string and tie it onto the fireplace, and then we would hook the string to our video camera. And so we told the kids that when Santa would come down the chimney, he would trigger the video camera and it would turn on, and we would finally catch Santa in the act delivering all the presents. The funny thing was, though, Santa and Mrs. Claus, in making this plan, didn't realize that in their big living room over the fireplace was a big mirror. So you may not know this, but Mrs. Claus sometimes comes with Mr. Claus. And it's funny because Mrs. Claus, in all her haggardness, about 1 a.m. on Christmas morning, you see her in every video at the video camera taping Santa, and she is distressed and she is haggard looking again, and she is making these gestures to Santa and saying things that we can make out with her mouth in the mirror, telling Santa to hurry up so she can go to bed. So my children have these wonderful memories of Santa and this sort of naughty Mrs. Claus who's very tired, and you just have to see it to believe it. It's something I'll just keep in the Watson files for now. Anyway, this year my son and his wife are going to share the Santa Trap with my grandson for the first time, so I'm anxious to see how theirs turns out. Anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year, too.
That is awesome. Amy Watson, the Santa Trap. And you can tell, Amy is someone who loves decorating. You see the tree and everything else behind her? I mean, it's just fantastic. And she's right. Part of the magic of Christmas, of course, her children now are grown to college and the like. She now has a grandchild, and so that's going to bring it to life for her. And she's talked about that with me a lot here, as I'm always asking her how Graham's doing, and so it's going to be wonderful for her and her family. And so that's great. And I wish Amy, obviously, a very, very Merry Christmas along that front. And so everyone has interesting, different traditions. That one there, that's pretty neat. I'd never heard of that before. All right, next up, okay, we're going to hear from Vicky Yates and Tori Yates, who is her daughter. But if you ask me, you look at the two of them, they look like sisters, okay? They just look like sisters to me. They're both fantastic. Let's hear from Vicky and Tori.
My most memorable Christmas was when I was 4 years old. Make a long story short, my dad worked in the suburbs and we only had one car, so my mom said, "We've got to go pick your dad up tonight from work." And I thought, wait a minute, Santa Claus is coming. He'll come and I won't be here and he won't leave me any toys. And she said, no, we'll be back in time. I was petrified, so my sister and I got in the car. We drove all the way out, picked my dad up. I'm sweating bullets. We get back, and I was going up the stairs, and I covered my eyes because I didn't want to see if Santa had come or not. Turned out Santa hadn't come yet, so I was in the clear. My mother said, "Run, jump into bed." I ran, jumped into bed, fell asleep. Next morning, I woke up, and under the tree, it was like the heavens opened up. I got Chatty Cathy. That was a talking doll for all of you who don't know anything about Chatty Cathy. That was the one gift I wanted, and I got a few other gifts, but that's the one I remember. And to be honest with you, I still have her. She doesn't really talk very much anymore, but she's still a member of the family. So that was my favorite Christmas. Here's my daughter.
Hi, I'm Tori and my favorite Christmas memory is that every night, the night before Christmas, my brothers and I would go into my room and build forts and put our sleeping bags down because we were so excited that Santa was coming that sometimes we couldn't fall asleep. So my mom let us kind of have a sleepover in my bedroom, and then we'd talk and we'd say, what do you think Santa's gonna get you this year? And then the tradition was my mom would wake us up super early in the morning, usually like 5:30, and say, Santa has been here. And then we'd all run out to the top of the stairs and we'd take a second and look at all the presents, and then we'd run down as fast as we could to open them. And just having that family time and that kind of sense of joy with each other is something that just makes me think of Christmas every year. I still get excited about Santa. We're a little bit too old to build forts anymore, but it's the thing I think about when it comes to Christmas, and it's just spending time with my family, with my brothers, my mom, my dad, our dogs. It was the best time.
That is awesome. I can totally relate. Can you relate? I still remember my brother and I had the same problem that she did, which was falling asleep at night. You just couldn't fall asleep. And finally, you do. And then when you wake up, and it's always way earlier than my folks getting up, it's just magical, and you run downstairs. And Vicky, in terms of Chatty Cathy, I still remember hearing and seeing the commercials for the Chatty Cathy dolls, and that's cool that she still has hers. It's weird what you remember about gifts over the years that were particularly special, and a lot of them, frankly, I've forgotten. I don't remember all of the wonderful gifts I've gotten over the years, but certain ones still stand out. And there's just one that stands out, and it's not even because I'm a huge fan of electric trains, but it was an electric train set. My Uncle Lou, who, rest his soul, is now since passed, was known for giving us the greatest gifts. And I remember coming down that morning, and for whatever reason, it was a Lionel train set. I still have the engine, which has got to be a collector's item by now because it's more than 50 years old. I mean, I think it still runs. The rest of the parts are kind of gone, but I always save the engine. I've got it stashed away somewhere at home. But I came down, and under the tree was the box. And I was a little kid, so it looked huge, but it was about this big, and it has all the tracks and the train in there. And it was wrapped, and the outside of the box, and really what made it special was not so much the size of the box or what was inside. He had taped packages of chewing gum all over the box, okay, and left it underneath the tree. It was there with all of other Santa's gifts, but I knew this one came from Uncle Lou. And this was back at the time before all the gum, I was just a little kid. Think back, this was like 50 years ago. It was like Wrigley's Spearmint Gum and Juicy Fruit. Do some of those ring a bell, and some others? But the whole wrapped package was taped with chewing gum, and that, for whatever reason, is just stuck in my head. And I loved the train, but it wasn't so much that. It was just the image of seeing that when I came down, and I was chewing gum all day long. Actually, probably for the rest of the month. Anyway, my parents weren't thrilled with that, and the dentist liked it, though. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Rory and Tawanda, some of their holiday memories as well. So stay with us on this special edition of Morning Line. Happy holidays.